Bob Maloney from my MMAnews.com, and it's fight week for my guest, Armando Gjetja, my Albanian friend, as he fights in the main event at Ring of Combat 81 coming up in Atlantic City. And this Friday night, it's fight week. And before we get into all the good stuff about the fight, let me say welcome, Armando. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. So much to talk about. You're defending your title. How your body feeling? How's your mind feeling?
Pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me, Bob, like always. I'm good, man. I'm feeling very, very I finally started seeing what compound interest in terms of work really means. It's like every camp there is always small incrementals, and I get better in every aspect. I just want to keep going.
Speaking of camp, one of the things I wanted to ask you about, we've been talking every fight. So what's some of the things that you, when you're having your weight cut and you're in camp, what's some of the things that you miss eating or drinking? What's some of those things that, that you miss, when you're in your weight cut and your camp?
Look, let me start with, I'm very, very good. I've gotten down, I've gotten this weight cut thing down to the T, and I'm very proud of the work that I do with it. It's like, it's been at least 4 camps now that I already know weeks in advance what my weight is going to look at a certain moment, and if something is different, why that happened. But when it comes to the food, I still do, I'm horrible. It's like I'm always on social media looking for desserts. To me, I don't have any particular edge, but if there is one to mention, I think it's sugar. So I'm on social media looking at anything sweet every day. That's the very first thing I look forward to after a fight.
Excellent. Now, when we're talking about fighting style, Armando, listen, I have said before about you in print and during the fight that I think you're one of the most exciting fighters that I have seen in covering the sport regionally. I mean, I love watching you fight because of your style, because you go out there, you have all kinds of weapons, you go out for the finish, you have a ton of heart. Do you think, let me ask you this, because listen, obviously winning the fight is the most important thing, but do you also think it is a little bit important to be exciting for you to put on a show? Because let's face it, Armando, you want to you get a big contract in the UFC. Our buddy Dennis Bazooka, who just got one, he fights the same style as you. He goes out there and he basically tries to kill his opponent. Controlled trying to kill his opponent, very skilled. But do you feel it's important though to fight exciting?
It's one of the main things. The more you get into this sport, the more you realize the very different aspects of it all. Because of course it does start as a dream where you are a teenager and you're watching, for me, for example, I'm watching on YouTube highlights of Mirko Krokop, Fedor Emelianenko, Cain Velasquez, all these great legends. But then you gotta get into it and you gotta see the reality of it all. And of course, you gotta be a killer. And on top of it, you gotta be entertaining. And not only entertaining, you gotta be a showman. This is show business. At the very end, you are in to bring an experience, and numbers do count. And it's it's I would say the borderline only negative thing, but know the rules and play by the rules. Nobody will ever push you to be somebody that you're not. So bring in your story. Bring in what you have, bring your background, the way I see it is, I know I'm gonna get there, and I'm right at the door of it all, because I know what I'm bringing and I have a story to tell.
And listen, I love the story. I'm excited whenever I see your name on the fight card, and there's a reason that you're the defending champion or main event, because that's what people come to see. So my much respect to you for not just working hard, but for always putting on a fantastic show. I mean, you're worth the price of admission. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I can't wait to see you fight again. Jacob Bond is your opponent. He's had 13 professional fights. I've done some research on him, and my amateur take of this fight is he's not going to want to stand with you. He's going to absolutely try to turn this into a grappling bout as much as he can. I know you've been working on that. You work on all aspects of your game. Tell me about your opponent and how you see the fight.
Well, he has his record is 13-10, a total of 23 fights, and he's a veteran, Bellator veteran. I've seen him standing. He actually fought one of my teammates. I've seen him on the ground. I know that he's a jiu-jitsu guy from upstate New York. I'll give him the credit of being fast on his feet too. But now let's not forget I'm a Renzo Gracie too, and when it comes to standing, that's my bread. So it's gonna be definitely a show for everybody. And another important thing for me was that finally I have some extensive footage of one of my opponents. So I've done my homework and I'm ready to go. Like, we have detailed every aspect of the fight.
Listen, I love talking to Ray Longo when I see him at a show. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's your coach, and you had told me before that when you went there full time, he made a huge difference. Talk to me a little bit about Ray Longo and the team. Listen, you don't have a gigantic team where you're at, but you have such a tight unit of skilled killers in that room. Talk to me a little bit about Ray and the team. I know the team has had some ups and downs recently. Tell me a little bit about what's going on over there.
The very positive thing there is that we have a lot of pro 55ers. It's like it's becoming a unit, and then right under at 45, and we have some very stocky, huge 45. Look at Dennis; it looks like a mountain. So it's great work. It's great work with everybody, and that's why I'll keep repeating it. That's why I moved there, and for them, and also and especially for Ray, I just needed a mentor. I needed somebody to calm my already ultra OCD-ish mind. So, like, if I could put it into a metaphor, somebody that could just lay their hand on my shoulder and be like, "Yo, let's go, we good."
And listen, talking to people, I mean, and it's really underappreciated. I mean, unless you fight, like you're a fighter. I haven't fought, but the mental part of it is so much greater than people realize. When people are watching the fights, they see two guys go in the cage, they think, okay, this guy's tougher than this guy. Tell me a little bit about the mental part of it, because many fighters, and I'm sure included you, the mental part is a gigantic part of the game.
Yeah, I attribute the most of my loss, or the few losses I've had in my career, to not being in the right place mentally, and not having direction. And that I always say that it doesn't really take much to be a lion for 3 hours a day and get into the gym. It's what you do the other 21 hours outside of the gym, outside of the academy. And it includes everything. It includes the diet, the discipline, and the time you spend sleeping, and the recovery, and mental, which is the most important part. You need to grow constantly and to inch little by little towards a new version of yourself.
You're fighting in the main event, Armando. Tell me a little bit about fight night. Is that like, I mean, it's a long night. When you're not, everybody else, you're the last one. You're going to be the last person to leave any locker room to walk out. Is that like, are you getting more and more used to that as your career has progressed? You've fought later and later on cards. Now, it's the Armando Gjetja show. You're the defending champ. You're the last one out. How does that feel? Like the weight? Does that weigh on your mind?
I've been doing better and better every time, and now it's like for different reasons. It's like, or the tropic. I've been fighting for Ring of Combat for the past 2 years, so I'm very, very, very comfortable. I actually used to have the opposite problem where I was like, I would always feel super comfortable, like on a mission, fighting outside of fighting away. When I fought at the beginning of my career, like in Florida and then in Alabama, I would feel like I'm just going there to complete a mission. And then when I started fighting home, that's where I started feeling it a little bit overwhelming, but it has, turned out to be perfect, sticking to a promotion like Ring of Combat. Now it's like, I don't care. I'm actually happy to have all these supporters and the house on my side.
Well, listen, once again, Armando Gjetja, defending champ. He puts on such a great show. So I'm so excited to see him this week at ROC 81. Armando, give some love, some shout outs. I know you have a lot of support, your sponsors. If you want to give any thank yous out, the floor is yours, my man.
Look, the shout out always goes to my diehard fans, the very first group of Albanians, the very first group of supporters, the people that got me here from. You don't know them. They live here. They're from the Bronx. They're Albanians from the Bronx. Alex, Victor, people that built me. They got me here one way or another. And of course, Dr. Sarowitz. This smile is thanks to him.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, listen, Armando, once again, man, thank you for giving me some of your time. Best of skills to you this coming week and your final preparations and your weight cut. It's always a pleasure not to just talk to you, but to watch you fight. I think your future has a giant. I think you're going to be joining many of your teammates. This may be the last time I get to see you fight regionally. And listen, I hope it is. I love watching you fight, but I'm saying a prayer because, Armando, you're a next level fighter, and I know you can only take this one fight at a time, and I thank you for giving me your time. You're a super guy, super exciting, such a great contributor to the sport, and I thank you for everything you're doing, and best of luck to you, my man.
Bob, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure.